The new Glamlite and Kiss palette is here and I'm ready to find out if you should go ahead and buy it or if you should skip this. So if you guys are curious, just keep watching. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I love indie makeup, especially eyeshadow palettes. So if that sounds good to you, highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post, and without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay, also Glamlite did launch their Kiss collaboration and I just went ahead and picked up the eyeshadow palette. So I have some swatches and some close-ups, so let's go ahead and look at those real quick. So this palette retails for $36. It says, introducing our rock and roll all night party every day palette. Created to celebrate the legacy of America's top gold record award-winning group of all time, Kiss. This remarkable 20-color palette comes with a complimentary limited edition box, and it has been meticulously curated, with each row crafted to pay homage to the individuality of every band member. The Star Child, the Demon, the Catman, and the Spaceman. Drawing from their vibrant personas, the palette boasts an array of ultra-pigmented reds, cool-tone blues, vibrant greens, and electric purple tones, ensuring that every look you create is as iconic as the band itself. So they have all of the ingredients listed on the palette as well as on the website. It says, caution, intent for consumers aged 12 and up, for external use only. Discontinue if redness, rash, or itchiness occurs. Net weight is 27 grams or 0.95 ounces, and it has a 18-month shelf life. So technically on this palette, I don't think it says eyeshadow palette anywhere. It just says palette. So I'm guessing with all of the new regulations, maybe they're working on being more compliant. I actually haven't super delved into all of that, but either which way, I have the palette here and I'm ready to test it out. I also grabbed two other palettes in my collection that have a very similar color story. So as always, we'll do some quick comparisons at the end, but I'm ready to put this on my eyes. So when I was swatching it, I decided on what kind of look I was gonna do with this palette. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't planning on buying this palette. I was just not really drawn to it, but I did skip the last Glamlite collection. And so I was just very, very curious to see what they had kind of come up with this year as far as their palettes and stuff. I believe just from what I'm seeing on their Instagram and stuff, they're like super blowing up on TikTok. Like I just saw the owner of Glamlite and her vice president were at like TikTok's headquarters in Seattle. So clearly they're doing something right, and I'm sure the show will go on whether I buy from them or not. But I was just curious because I have been a Glamlite fan and a affiliate for a long, long time. And you know, I get it. Sometimes brands change, we change, the things we love change. So just because something doesn't appeal to me, it doesn't mean that it's not appealing to somebody out there. But I was too curious with this one, so I decided to grab it. So that shade was called Love It Loud, which is a super burgundy shade. And then I want to use the shade called the Star Child on the inner portion of my crease. I'm trying to use shades that I think will be very contrasty of each other, because I feel like when you look at this palette, they all do look very like minutely different. Like the shades all look very similar. They're very jewel tone, dark mattes. So it's definitely quite intimidating. And the white eyeshadow is actually kind of like a satin white with a sheer base. So if you thought you were going to lighten up any of these shadows with a matte white, that's not the case. So I just want to mention that, but I wanted to pick two shades that were really going to contrast with each other but also still kind of go together. And I'm using my favorite Unearthly brush to create this like faux edgy wing look, and I'm also bringing the burgundy on to the outer corner. I really shouldn't be working this hard honestly with this because most of the shimmer will cover it up, but I just want to get it nice and built up. Let me know. I think there was definitely mixed kind of thoughts with this collection. The Kiss fans, I think actually some Kiss fans were disappointed. Some Kiss fans are obsessed with it. So as always, I love to hear what you guys have to say. So let me know how you felt about it. And then I'm going to go in with the Spaceman, which is that iridescent white. And I'm going to pick it up on the, ooh, I just accidentally ran it into the green. I'm going to pick it up on this flat brush from Clionadh. And I'm going to give it a nice little spray. And I'm going to start on the outer corner. I will say I wasn't that impressed by the metallics, only because they felt a little dry and they didn't feel very shiny, which I was a little bit surprised by because usually Glamlite has a very smooth shimmer formula, like very easy to foil. I mean, this one is fine. I'm not mad about it, but I was just a little bit taken aback. So I think this is like the most like interesting shimmer shade in this palette. As you can see, it's pulling like a ton of blue on my eyelid, but I think it's just taking from that purpley shade I put down on my crease and lid. But everything else is just very much like a basic blue shimmer, a basic blue, you know, green. There is kind of a really cool like red black shimmer here called Axe. Oh my gosh, I can't read. That's a pretty cool shade, but I was really wanting to do something, like I said, with more contrast. I didn't want to do like a monochromatic look. I'm adding a little bit of the shade called Shout It Out Loud, which is like a more warm tone purple, just to kind of spice up the crease just a little bit. But yeah, overall this is definitely very grungy looking, so that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. I also caught a cold, you guys, so my nose is running. I apologize if my makeup looks a little wonky around this area. It's because it really is quite dry and very stingy at the moment, but I'm trying to power through so I can post this video for y'all. So anyway, I just want to mention that I'm going to go ahead and line the waterline, and I'll be right back to finish up the lower lash line. Okay, so I used the Glamlite Chucky eyeliner. I have a Sigma pencil brush. I'm going to use it to do the lower lash line quick. Okay, so for the lower lash line, I was wondering if I should do more colors or stick to this theme. I'm really curious about the shade The Demon. It just looked so pigmented. So I'm just going to toss that like right at the start of the waterline. This is gonna probably scare my children, but it looked so pigmented. I was so curious about it, so I'm gonna put it right there, and then I'm gonna go into Shout It Out Loud. Okay, the outer corner here got a little wilder than I wanted it to, but I think I can fix that with the Q-tip. I'm gonna go into Love It Loud, which is the burgundy shade, and I'm just going to use it to patch the outer corner with the purpley shade. I'm going to fix that. It's going to bother the heck out of me. I know you guys probably cannot see it, but it's going to bother the heck out of me. Okay, I'm just going to take my Game Beauty pencil brush, which honestly, this brush needs a good washing, but that's for another day. I got the shade The Spaceman on here, and I'm just gonna pop that on the inner corner just to give it a little extra shine there. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you like it? How does it look? Does it look good? Okay, so that's the look, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, throw on some mascara, lip gloss, blush, highlighter, all the things, and I will be right back to show you guys the finished look. Okay, the coolest part of this look has to be the earrings. Are you ready for the big reveal? Are these not the best freaking earrings for a rock and roll themed makeup palette? Like, I just am so happy with these. Anyways, I will link them down below in case you guys are interested. I don't think it's going to be an affiliate link because the brand doesn't do affiliates, but either which way, I'm living for these earrings, and they're not heavy. They're not heavy at all. I can't even feel them on me. Let me tell you really quick what else is on my face again. All of this stuff will be linked in the description box, and if you use my links to shop, it really helps me out. Okay, let's start off with the primer. I'm wearing the Milk Makeup, what is this primer? It's the Cloud Glow Primer. I just got this, I think, at the end of last week, and I've been wearing it every time I've done my makeup. It is so nice. It's hydrating. It's not as sticky as a Hydro Grip, but it definitely still has some stickiness to it, and I just love my makeup when I put this on underneath it. So another great primer from Milk Makeup. I love it so much. I'm wearing the Huda Beauty Peach Pie, I always forget the name, Peach Pie powder on my face. And then for highlighter, I wanted to do something a little bold, so I went with the purple. This is the Low Light shade from the Unearthly Low Light palette. I'm not sure if they're still selling this, but if they are, I will link it down below for you guys. I do have an Unearthly affiliate code. It's just KHMAKEUP on the website. And then I don't think you can get this anymore, but this is the lip gloss in the shade Admire from the Charmer collection. I just wanted to lean into the purple look, and I also am using the black lip pencil from Unearthly. This is the shade Villain. It's so good, you guys. I used to talk about these lip liners all the time, and I haven't in a while, so I just wanted to mention them because Unearthly has really great sales, and these are already super affordable, and then you can get a discount on top of that, which is awesome. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but I think that Glamlite really missed out on not having a black lip shade, but that's just me, and I don't really know much about Kiss. I just feel like one thing they're known for is the black and white makeup, so I feel like a black lip would have made sense. They did like a red lip, which, I mean, whatever, but that's just my humble opinion. And then I'm wearing the ColourPop blush in Just Rosy from the Snow White collection. I just really wanted to lean into that berry purple vibes, so I really like that. And then for foundation, I'm wearing the Ilia Stick Foundation. I've really been enjoying this. I have it in the shade Elm and the NARS Concealer in the shade Biscuit. So those are the two products that I use for my foundation and concealer. And then bronzer, I've been loving the Hoola bronzer in the shade Caramel. Okay, so now that I showed you everything else on my face, let's go ahead and talk about the eyeshadow palette. So I will say the packaging is beautiful. I think they did a really good job. Presentation was great. I also did get a free pair of lashes with my order. I'm guessing they're trying to clear out some inventory. So attention to detail I think is really there. If you are a Kiss fan, you should be pretty happy with the details. Okay, so before I can give you my first impressions on this palette, I really wanted to show you guys the Camp Crystal Lake palette from their Friday the 13th collaboration. I was really hesitant to buy this Kiss palette because I kept thinking that they looked very similar. I will say in person they do look quite similar. Obviously the Kiss palette has more shades, and the Friday the 13th palette is just a tad more cool toned, and it also has a few neutral shades. So if you have the Friday the 13th palette and you are kind of thinking the same as me, maybe you could skip out on the Kiss palette, or if you skipped the Friday the 13th palette, maybe the shades in the Kiss palette would be more appealing to you. As much as I love eyeshadow palettes, as much as I love Glamlite, it's hard for me to say you need both of these. So I would love to hear from you guys, the audience. What do you think? Now that you've seen these next to each other, do you feel like you need the new Kiss palette? I am dying to know, like, do you have this one? Do you have both of them? Are you like me? Are you extra? I am so curious to hear if you guys purchased both of these or just one of them. So definitely leave me a comment down below, but I do feel like they are quite similar. So as somebody that has reviewed eyeshadow palettes for as long as I have, it is hard for me to say you really need both of these because they do look quite similar, but maybe if you're a big fan of both franchises, you want them both. And then I had to tap into a favorite top tier indie brand of mine that I love so much, Bella Beaute Bar. Somebody actually mentioned that the Kiss palette looked or reminded them of the Bejeweled palette, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even think of that. So that's why I always encourage you guys to leave comments, because it always sparks something in me that I didn't even think of. And I will say, side by side, they do look very close. The Bella Beaute Bar palette has some beautiful shimmers in it though, so I will say that the Bella Beaute Bar palette definitely beats the Glamlite palette for me. because I love shimmery, sparkly eyeshadows, and so I think Bella Beaute Bar just did it better in this particular case, but they are different price points, and obviously if you're a huge Kiss fan, who am I to tell you yes or no? You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to do a little comparison because both of those palettes I had seen people mention were pretty similar, and I just want to do a quick comparison. Now, as far as this palette goes, for the price point, do I regret buying it? I don't really, because I knew what I was getting myself into. I wasn't really expecting the color story to blow me away. I was just curious because I had skipped the Betty Boop, and I just wanted to see what Glamlite was doing these days. I feel like they've definitely made better palettes, more interesting color stories, etc. I do love jewel tones, but I think I've had enough of them. I think I'm ready for them to do something a little different. And I don't know, you guys tell me, because I'm not a Kiss person, so did they do the band justice? I don't get any of the references. I have no idea if these show the personality of each of the band members. I don't know if anybody in Kiss even approved this project, or if it was whoever like owns their like licensing. I have no idea how any of that works. So would love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are. I personally think this is just an okay palette. If I had to give it a rating from 1 to 10, probably give it like a solid 6. I don't think the shimmers are that mind-blowing at all. The mattes are pretty nice. They're really nice and grungy, and they build up nicely. They're really nice and deep. So I think this would combine really well with some of the other palettes they've done in the past, like their ice cream palette, which is just pastels and like mid-tone shades. So it definitely has its place in the Glamlite, you know, sphere, but also can't help but think that that Friday the 13th palette looks very similar. So those are all my thoughts. Hopefully I summarized myself well. If you enjoyed this quick first impressions video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye for now.